It's finally here, folks. It's finally here. Of course, the final match day of the 2024-2025 EFL League 2 season is around the corner. Of course, I'm going to do our predictions for those last games live right here. And of course, they're coming at you next, I think. How do we do this? Bloody hell. There we go. That's right, folks, back once again with another video today. We are doing the EFL League 2 predictions live. That's right, so you can join me here predicting the games as I go through them, of course, and just let me know how you're feeling, of course, heading into the final day of the League 2 campaign. We'll get to all of that in a minute, of course. If you're new, where you've been, smash your subscribe button, your sub shop for League 2, Blackburn Rovers, World Football. We're going to all hear under one rooski, that's right. Of course, a lot of the topics of discussion are already over. We already know that Port Vale are up. I think Doncaster are up. There is still one automatic spot left on the horizon. Going down, it's Morecambe, it's Carlisle. That's confirmed. What we don't know is who will join those top two in the League One next season, who will make those playoffs. We'll have a look at all of that, of course, in a second. Of course, make sure you subscribe, smash a like. But anyway, we're going to get into it. We're going to review the last round of games. Then we'll look forward to the new round of games. And, of course, drop in your predictions for these League 2 in the chat as we go through them. But before all that, we're going to revisit the last round of games. So this could be the way we do the prediction shows moving forward. It saves on the editing. But anyway, League 2 it is. But currently, let's have a look at the state of play from the last round of matches. These were those, of course. My predictions were on the left. The real deal was on the right. I think I did okay. Let's have a look back at it then. Starting off with Wimbledon. They picked up a loss, actually, to Port Vale. Sealed the deal for Darren Moore's boys. Well, hello. We've got Jack Thornton in the chat there. I went with the 2-1 win for Wimbledon, so I got that one wrong. Doncaster Rovers did beat Bradford 2-1. That sealed the deal for them. They're back in the, not big time, but you know what I mean. I went with the 2-0 win myself. Notts County with a 3-1 win over Harrogate. I went with a 2-1 win. Ain't too shabby. Barrow and Bromley duked out to a 3-3 thriller. I went with the home win on that one. Carlisle did lose to Cheltenham 3-2 on that game. I went the other way. Chesterfield did put 4 past Morecambe. An important 3 points there for Chester, who could still make those playoffs. I went with a 2-0 win. Gillingham and Swindon duked out to a 1-1 draw in the Ian Holloway derby. That's right. Fleetwood Town also beat Newport County 2-0. I went with a 2-1 win. MK Dons under Paul Warren with a 0-0 draw over Grimsby. I went with a 2-0 win myself. Salford put 4 past Colchester, damaging Colchester's hopes but strengthening Salford's. Goodness gracious me. And Tranmere sealed the deal. They'll be back playing League 2 football next season, of course, with a new owner, I think. I went with the draw on that one. And what's gone wrong with Walsall? Look at that. Absolute shambles. 1-0 loss to Accrington Stanley. They were top of the table for a long time, and now they just can't bloody win a game. That's right. The table, my friends, if I can get there. Where are you? Where the bloody hell are you? I must be here, surely. Where am I? Why can't I see? There it is. There it is. I'm bloody. It's live. It's live TV. We're doing it to you live. It looks like this right here, right now. Doncaster, they're done. They're over the line. Port Vale, they're there as well. But Bradford sit in the driving seat as of the last game of the season. Walsall on the outside looking in right now and could fall as low as 5th in the table heading into those playoffs if they can't get it right on the night. That's right. Meanwhile, as we look at it, Carlisle are down, Morecambe are down. Don't know what's going to go on with Mark Hughes. Will he stay? Will he go? That's, of course, something to be talked about later on. But let's take a look at the permutations. Realistically, it is between Colchester and up. That's right. Who can get in the playoffs? Colchester could gate crash it on the final day. That'd be fantastic for the Crowleys. But Chester also have got their own agenda as well. Realistically, well, I guess Grimsby could leapfrog Wimbledon. Yeah, it's looking like Wimbledon might have enough in the tank to stay in the playoffs in one capacity or another. Walsall and Notts County at least guaranteed playoffs, but they could challenge for that last remaining automatic spot. So it all comes down to this, guys. It is. We do have a prediction league. It's still going. I do apologise. Last time around, I didn't give you the draw option, and of course, a lot of points were lost that way. But hey ho, away we go. It's that part of the season. I'm tired. I'm actually doing this for 5:04 a.m. That's right. Goodness gracious me, I'm doing this for you guys, and I'm doing it live. So errors can happen at this stage of the season. I'll try not to get any errors now. I'm not giving you an update. We'll probably give you an update heading into those playoffs, first legs, to see where we are. But keeps it all in a bit of mystery, gives you with a bit of hope as well. Anyway, these are the last round of games. And we're going to start with, of course, the top one, all the way working down the bottom. Kicking all off at the same time, which is Saturday. May the 3rd be with you. That's right. And that will be, I think, am I looking at a 2 o'clock kickoff in the UK? Something like that. or maybe I got that completely wrong. But anyway, they're all kicking off at the same time. Of course, they're their own dedicated spot on the weekend. But let's get into it then. Take a look at Accrington Stanley against Chesterfield. Chesterfield are in it. They've got something to fight for this match day under Paul Cook. Up against John Doolan's Accrington Stanley, taking place over at Stanley. Get your predictions in now. We'll have a look at them as I run through them. Of course, Stanley coming into his 19th of the table. They'll be back next season. They're unbeaten in the last 4 matches. Pick up a couple of wins and a couple of draws. Up against Chesterfield, who are 9th and can gate crash that top, the playoff spots. And a win is paramount for them. Coming into unbeaten in the last 5. Now, they played each other 17 times in 2007. We've got 9 wins for Stanley. We've got 6 wins for Chesterfield. We've got 2 draws between the two sides. Last time around over at Accrington Stanley, it was a 4-0 win for Accrington. That was way back in January 2018. The reverse fixture at Chesterfield was a 3-0 win for Stanley. That was back in November 2024. Coming into this, Chesterfield on the back of that 4-1 win over Morecambe. Stanley picking up a 1-0 win over Walsall. The bookies fancy Chesterfield for this one. Jack Thornton's gone with a 2-2 draw in the chat. Respect to him for getting out there and letting his feelings known. I'm also thinking I'm going with a 2-0 win for Chesterfield. Going with the bookies on this one. And that could get Chesterfield into those playoff spots at the end of the campaign. Moving forward, it's Bradford City. They're taking on Fleetwood Town. That's coming at Valley Parade. That's right. Bradford need a win to guarantee League One football. They are a bit of a juggernaut, sleeping giant, you would imagine. Of course, formerly Premier League side way back when. But they're under the stewardship of Graham Alexandra right now. But they're winless in the last 4 matches. They're up against Fleetwood under Pete Wild, who's done an okay job for Fleetwood this season, but just 1 win in the last 5 matches. Now, they played 15 times, these two clubs, since 2012. 6 wins Bradford, 5 wins Fleetwood, and there's been 4 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played at Valley Parade, it was a 1-0 win for Fleetwood way back in February 2019. That was actually in League One. Fleetwood picking up the reverse fixture at Highbury this season back in November 2024. The hosts, Bradford coming into on the back of that 2-1 loss to Doncaster. Fleetwood with a 2-0 win over Newport on this one. I'm going to do a surprise swap here, says Jack Thornton. He's going with a 2-1 win for Fleetwood. That's right, this could be typical of a Bradford City collapse here. They are favoured with the bookies on this one. Jack's gone with an away win here with Fleetwood Town. I'm going to back the Bantams with a 2-1 win, so we'll see who's right, you or me. Jack Perino when it comes back around. Bromley, they're up next. They're taking on Cheltenham, coming at Bromley. Bromley had a fantastic season as well. Andy Woodman, they're coming into some pretty good form right now. 67% form, just 1 defeat in the last 6. They sit 11th in the table up against Cheltenham under Michael Flynn. They've had a bit of a dismal campaign for themselves, but they are unbeaten in the last 4. Now, they have taken on Bromley 3 times since 2015, just one draw between the two sides, but 2 wins out of the 3. For Cheltenham coming into in 15th spot. Now, the last time that these two sides played at Bromley, it was back in October 2015. Cheltenham picking up the victory, 2-1 win as it was over at Bromley. Bromley picking up that 3-3 draw against Barrow most recently. Cheltenham on the back of that 3-2 win over now relegated Carlisle United. The odds for this one, though, looking at it, Bromley favoured with the bookies on this one. Jackster there has gone with a 2-0 win for Bromley. It's not a bad shout. That I think I might be leaning towards the same. I've gone with a 1-0 win myself for Bromley to take the 3 points to end the season in fantastic shape, and they'll be back next year. But of course, it is the second season syndrome for Bromley. Meanwhile, we go to Carlisle up against Salford. What a ding-dong classic this could have been, but Carlisle now could play the party poopers at the expense of Salford. That's right. Carlisle and Mark Hughes could not do the great escape. In fact, coming into this on back-to-back games without a win, they sit 23rd. They cannot escape the drop zone. They will be playing non-league football, of course, to the clock back to just 12 months ago, and they were in League One. Double relegation for Carlisle. Salford coming into this on back-to-back wins. They might have hit form at the right time. They do sit in those playoffs right now, 68 points. And they played 8 times, these two clubs, since 2019. 4 wins Carlisle, 2 wins Salford, and there's been 2 draws between the two sides. Last time around at Carlisle, it was a 3-2 win. Salford, that's back in April 2023, around about this time last season. In fact, today, there's this time today, 2 years ago, that was in League Two. Carlisle, on the back of that 3-2 loss to Cheltenham. Salford with that 4-1 win over Colchester. In the chat, we've got Jack with a 3-1 win for Salford. Wow, good scoreline there. The bookies also back in Salford on this one. I think now that the pressure is off, Carlisle might step up the plate here with a 2-0 win and dent a massive, humongous spanner in the works for Salford and their playoff teams. Still, a defeat could be enough, depends on the chasing back. We know Chesterfield now with that victory could close the door. We'll see if we're right or wrong. Moving forward, Colchester are also in the discussion, taking on a Barrow side who are on the beach. Is that right? Colchester under Danny Crowley, 10th in the table, 66 points this season. They've been fantastic this season, have Colchester, but have just fallen short in those last 3 matches. Winless now in the last 3. Up against Barrow and Andrew Wing, who's done a great job as well, steadying the ship at Barrow. They're unbeaten in the last 6, but they've drawn 4 of the last 6, including the last 3. They played 9 times, these two clubs, since 2020. We have 1 win for Colchester, 4 for Barrow, and there's been 4 draws between the two sides. Last time around over at Colchester, Barrow with a 4-1 win way back in November 2023. The reverse fixture this season at Barrow was a 1-1 draw way back in November 2024. Colchester losing to Salford most recently, 4-1 loss there. Barrow with a 3-3 draw against Bromley. So that's 3 consecutive draws. The bookies, though, they're going with a Colchester victory here, which should be enough, or at least to challenge it, or at least to put their name in the mixer there. Jack's gone with a nil-nil draw on this one, which could be the case here. I've gone with a 2-0 in Colchester, which again has them competing, and it may or may not be enough to gate crash the top 7 spots. Meanwhile, Crewe against Walsall. Crewe, their season's fallen to bits, hasn't it? Of course, last season's playoff finalists. Up against Walsall, a team that have flirted with the top throughout the season and looked at one stage destined for League One, but it's all gone a bit wrong for Walsall. They're taking on Crewe at Chesterfield this coming Saturday now. Crewe coming into this 12th in the table, 62 points for the season. I think they're out. They're winless in the last 5 up against Walsall, who are 4th, 74 points right now. The momentum's gone. They've lost it. They've lost the bloody plot, but they haven't won in the last 13 matches. They played Crewe 25 times since 1999. 9 wins Crewe, 4 wins Walsall, and there's been 12 draws between the two sides. Last time around at Grimsby Road, it was a 2-2 draw back in August 2023. The reverse fixture at the Bescott was a 1-1 draw back in November. Crewe on the back of that 2-0 loss to Tranmere most recently. It's actually been 3 games now without a goal for Crewe. Walsall on the back of a 1-0 loss to Stanley, back-to-back games without a goal. This could be that board draw that Jack was talking about just the other match here. The bookies odds for this one, Walsall have the edge with the bookies. Jack's going with a toughie, a 1-1 draw right down the middle. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw right down the middle. He's got my notes here. He's got my bloody notes. 1-1 draw, point apiece, which that definitely doesn't guarantee Walsall automatic spots. Meanwhile, Morecambe gets Harrogate. Bit of a dead rubber this one. Harrogate will be playing non-league football. Derek Adams, I don't know if he'll return, but they've lost 5 on the spin. And again, a team on the back of double relegation. If I'm correct in saying that, they relegated from League One last time. So Harrogate, of course, under Simon Weaver, just going under the radar. 50% form for them right now. 1-2 lost to and drawn to over the last 6. Now coming into this, they played 6 times to 2020. 3 wins Morecambe, 2 wins Harrogate. 1 draw between the two sides, of course. Last time around over at this very venue, it was a 2-2 draw way back on New Year's Day 2024. The reverse fixture at Harrogate was a 2-1 win for Morecambe, one of their few victories, should we say. That's back in November in this season. Harrogate, though, on the back of that 3-1 loss to Notts County. Morecambe losing 4-1 to Chesterfield last time round. The odds for this one, it's tight. It could go either way, but the bookies, very, very fine margins. Jack's gone with a 1-0 win for Harrogate. But again, just like Carlisle, I think the pressure is off now for Morecambe. They're at home. I think they're going to win this one 2-0 quite comfortably. And of course, it will quite piss off the fans, really. Where was this performance 2 or 3 weeks ago where they needed victories? But anyway, they're down, they're out. They'll have to come back fighting next time around. But it's easier said than done. Look at the Vegans, Forest Green Rovers. I don't think they're coming back. So you could get lost in a football obscurity. Meanwhile, Grimsby taking on Wimbledon. This one is the game of the day. If there's a game of the day in League Two, this is it. Both sides in with a chance for playoffs currently. 8th place Grimsby on the outside looking in. They're on 68% more, 68 points for them right now. 4 matches without a win. That's right. Meanwhile, Wimbledon coming into this under Johnny Jackson. They are 6th, 70 points for the season. They're 2 points clear of Grimsby heading into this one. But it's at Grimsby. All eyes on this. Played 7 times these two clubs since 2011. 3 wins for Grimsby, 2 for Wimbledon. And there's been 2 draws between the two sides. Last time around over at Grimsby, it was a 0-0 draw on this one. That's on Matchday number 1 way back in August 2023. The reverse fixture at Plough Lane was a 1-0 win for Grimsby back in November. Goodness gracious me. You honestly haven't a clue. I know this is a prediction show. We're having a stab in the dark right here, right now. Meanwhile, the bookies' odds for this one is tight, very, very tight. Could go either way. Wimbledon have it with the bookies, of course. We got a prediction in the chat. Jack's gone with a 2-0 win for Grimsby on this one. I've gone with the other way. Pressure mounts. That's right. Wimbledon holding their own. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. Wimbledon taking it, and that may secure playoffs. We'll see about that. Let's go to Wales then, shall we? Newport County up against Tranmere Rovers, of course. Nelson Jardine, I believe, is on his way out, of course, as manager of Newport County. Taking on Tranmere, still under the stewardship of Andrew Crosby over for the time being. I think it might be different strokes for different folks next season at Tranmere with the new owners. But anyway, coming into this, Newport County have taken on Tranmere 14 times since 2014. 6 wins for Newport, 5 for Tranmere. There's been 3 draws between the two sides. Last time around, over at Newport, it was a 2-1 win for Tranmere way back in April 2024. The reverse fixture in Tranmere way back in November was a 2-1 win for Tranmere as well. Tranmere winning 3 on the spin, that's right, stretching all the way back to December 2023. Newport, though, on the back of that 2-0 loss to Fleetwood Town. Tranmere on the back of that 2-0 win over Crewe Alexandra. Back-to-back clean sheets for Tranmere. Of course, they're safe as houses now. Nelson Jardine will be looking for a new job, I believe. That's what I'm hearing. Tranmere, though, of course, with the bookies' favourite here, they should win this game on the road. Jack's also back in Tranmere on the road. 2-0 win. And I think I'm going to join you on that one with a 2-0 win as well. He's got my bloody notes. He's got my notes. Meanwhile, into the final 3, some other big games here. It's Doncaster's going to Notts County, already promoted Doncaster. Grant McCann got there in the end. That's right, Notts County under Stuart Maynard. Can he do it? They're coming into this, the host on the 5th spot. They could gate crash that top 3 and join Doncaster with a win. Of course, they do need results elsewhere, Walsall being one of them. Up against Doncaster, sitting top of the table right now. They're going for the title. They're unbeaten in their last 6 matches at the very least. They played Notts County 15 times since 2006. 8 wins Notts County, 4 wins to Doncaster, 3 draws between the two sides. Last time around, over at Notts County, it was a 3-0 win way back on Boxing Day 2023. That was in League 2, of course. The reverse fixture at the Keepmoat this campaign back in November was a 1-1 draw. Notts County, though, are unbeaten against Doncaster over the last 4, picking up 3 wins and just a 1 draw. Doncaster, though, picking up a 2-1 win over Bradford. That was most recently. Notts County with a 3-1 away win against Harrogate Town. The bookies, though, they're going to back Notts County. They got more on the line on this one. Jack's back in a 2-0 win as well for Notts County. Will it be party mood? Will it be party mood for Notts County? I've gone with the 2-1 win as well. Copying Jack's sweet on this one to the final 2. Port Vale already promoted. Gillingham maybe next year under Gareth Ainsworth. They've been pretty good form right now under Gillingham. Bit boring, bit stagnant, but they're getting points on the board. Port Vale, though, will be up in next season under Darren Moore. They sit second, 80 points for the campaign, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against Gillingham, unbeaten in at least the last 6 matches. They sit 17th with 55 points. And have played Port Vale 23 times since 2005. 9 wins Vale, 8 wins Gillingham, and there's been 6 draws between these two sides. Last time around, over at Port Vale, it was a 2-1 win for Vale way back in September 2016. That was in League 1. The reverse fixture this campaign at Gillingham was a 1-0 win for Gillingham back in November. Vale, though, on the back of that 2-0 win over Wimbledon. We've got Gillingham with a 1-1 draw at Swindon, or with Swindon last time around. The bookies for this one, though, it is tight, but well, Port Vale are fancy, Gillingham not so much. I'm going to go, before Jack gets in there and picks me, I think I'm going to sit on the fence here with another 0-0 draw. That's right, Gillingham keeping the draws going. And of course, Gareth Ainsworth, I don't think he's suffered a defeat just yet. But anyway, I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw for Gillingham on the road, and Port Vale will still be celebrating because they'll be playing League 1 football. Then we wrap it all up. Swindon Town up against MK Dons. Now, these two sides may not be in the playoffs this year, but of course, next season it could be a completely different story. Swindon are cooking under Ian Holloway, just shy here, though, 13th for the table, 61 points for the campaign, back-to-back games without a win, though. Up against MK Dons under Pool 1, unbeaten in the last 3. They sit 18th right now, 51 points, bit of a rebuild needed for MK Dons. They played each other 30 times since 1993, 7 wins Swindon, 17 wins MK Dons, and there's been 6 draws between these two sides. Now, the last time they played at Swindon, it was a 2-1 win for MK Dons way back in February 2024. The reverse fixture at the Stadium MK this season, back in November, it was a 3-1 win for MK Dons. The bookies odds for this one then, shall we have a look at it? It is Swindon Town are favoured. MK Dons are the underdogs for this one. I don't know. I think I'm going to sit on the fence on this one as well. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, maybe just like you. Yeah, going with a draw as well. 1-1 on the night. which of course, if that means all these come on in bang on the nose, which they might, you just don't know. This is how the table will pan out as the conclusion of the EFL League 2 campaign. It'll look like this, guys. That's right. Doncaster Rovers will be title winners on goal difference ahead of Port Vale. That's right. Bradford City will join them in League One, and the playoffs will be made up of Notts County, Walsall, Wimbledon, and Chesterfield. And a quick assumption or a quick sort of configuration here, it will be a Notts County versus Chesterfield, Walsall versus Wimbledon playoff semi-finals. And we already know who was going down, Carlisle and Morecambe, but that is how I see the season panning out, of course. I don't like the look of that. Jack, who's your team? Let me know your team in the chat there, of course. We look forward to seeing other predictions there. Of course, we'll keep you bang up to date with the playoffs as we get into it. Of course, I would like Colchester to sneak in there, honestly. Salford, though, also of a big boys trying to punch up a little bit further up the league. But anyway, that's how I see it. Let me know your thoughts. Grimsby Town, wow, that would also be quite cool, as they've been on a downward slope of recent times. They're now on the way up a little bit, and have done good so far. And yeah, but it's just the form has hit a bit of a rough patch right here, right now. Anyway, that is, of course, the League 2 campaign. I'll be back at the top of the hour for League 1. Live. Come join me then. But until then, I'll see you soon, guys and girls. We're going to bounce out of here. Until then, I'll see you soon for the next one.